want to use part of it towards watering, then go right ahead. But I'm still just for giving a certain dollar amount to Roots and Branches, and how they use it is up to them. And if they want to specify a certain amount towards water, then let them use that. But I don't want to, I guess I feel that the bid shouldn't continue to say, we're paying for water, because that's not what we do. We donate to beautify the downtown, not to pay for water. I don't.
And the rationale of keeping one of the spigots completely sort of on the books for the bid is that the current contractor, which is a 3-year contract, he's going to use a small ATV with a water tank on it, and that's what he's going to use to water the hanging baskets. So if it's really dry, he'll probably fill up, but then he'll probably have to refill up. So the thought was he could just fill up at the Antidote. It's super accessible. They can fill it up. So the thought was, you know, there will be water for the hanging baskets, and so keep one of them sort of paid for by the bid, but also could be used by Roots and Branches, but then have the other two that are probably not, they're harder to get to in the flower beds and stuff, so the contractor probably wouldn't, you know, use those two. So just for clarity there of why we were recommending the one, just kind of stay with the bid.
Right. Questions, comments?
In your breakdown, it's mentioned that we're paying for 2 of them anyhow, right?
You paid for 3. What the thought process was, I had a brief conversation with Peggy. The thought was the bid would continue to pay for 1, and then the other 2 would either A, could be switched over to Roots and Branches for them to pay. 2, which is in the memo, is the bid continues to pay for them, but we consider that instead of being on a line item that says, you know, bid water payment, we'll put it, you know, water contribution to Roots and Branches. So it would be part of the larger donation of Roots and Branches. And so from that perspective, those are the 2 options. And to be honest, I'm Roots and Branches wasn't really happy about it. You guys weren't. I knew you guys would be a surprise to all of you, and it's just kind of an awkward situation to discuss.
So what happens if we pay for our 1 and they decide not to pay for the other 2? What happens then? I mean, does it get assigned to somebody no matter what?
I would guess if what happened, I would have to talk to the water utility, but I would guess that you can have a meter turned off. So I guess there probably would be a way that the water would just be, if no one's going to pay for the 2 meters, then the water would just be turned off. I don't know if it'd still be a charge. I did not go down that road with the water utility.
I think it's something we should look at and then discuss at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, then we'll put it on the agenda as an agenda item for next month. Okay, thank you. Good idea. Thank you for putting all this into an itemized list. I think it's important because up to this point, I don't think any of us really realized, you know, what we're actually paying for. So this was really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was important for me and Ashley because
Yeah.
Ashley's now helping with some of the finances and stuff,
Yeah.
and the 2 of us just had to sort it out. And then I'm like, I don't know if any of you guys even know all these
No.
details. So I was like, well, if we put it together for ourselves, so
Yeah.
we might as well just keep it up and have it for you
Yeah,
all.
it's perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so now if someone could make a motion to approve, or actually Larry made a motion to approve the financial report. If we have a second?
Second.
Second? Thank you,
Second.
Chrissy. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion approved. Okay, moving on to the Downtown West Bend Association temporary facility.
So this particular one, so Noelle came to me about a week ago. So originally, because the gazebo was hit and damaged and not replaceable, they were going to put a tent up. And as they explored the options of a tent, they got a little bit more concerned about weather and winds and other things. So they basically have moved on to more of a permanent looking but temporary structure. You have a picture of it. I don't know if it's on if you're looking at it on your screens. It's about $1,600. Noelle has asked if the bid would be willing to contribute $600, or I'm sure she would be glad if any amount would be great, but 16 would be super helpful to their organization. It's not something that they budgeted for originally, and this would help keep some of the electronics and the music and other types of things for a lot of the events throughout downtown to be, sheltered from the rain and that sort of thing. So I think it's actually a pretty a good solution. It will be bolted down to the ground. From that perspective, it will probably be able, if we don't get a new gazebo or something in another summer, it would still be able to be used the following summer. Probably could also be used at, for Christmas and that sort of thing too. So thoughts, questions?
Is it possible for us to get some private sponsors to pay for this?
I don't know the other portion of the amount, how Noelle is funding the other $1,000. So I don't know if you want to come up and talk a little bit about all the different pieces you're putting together for this.
Thank you. That certainly could be an option where we would look for a sponsor, perhaps find a way to put their name by the stage. Looking at it, of course, as a temporary fix, but something that can stand and still look attractive, as far as like beautifying our downtown, would be utilized greatly by the organization, of course, with all the summer events that we have coming up. The only reason that we haven't search for a sponsor yet is we just know that the clock is ticking. We need to just get this. We know the dollar amount. Initially, just knowing that we're downtown, it is a city park too. Another idea in my mind was, would the city be interested in helping with part of it, the bid with part of it, and then downtown as like a joint effort just to get this up there. But certainly that has been discussed in our office, is looking for sponsor or two as well for it. But this was the first step that we were taking.
And I think Parks is paying. Is there some funding coming from Parks a little bit?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything.
All right.
I think that I'd like to find some private sponsors for this, if that's okay with the bid. I think we can get you the money, get the funds put together.
I don't know that we have enough time to really do that.
It's $1,600. We'll,
But she's only asking for 600.
yeah, I mean,
but
I think it'll be fine. I don't think the bid needs to pay for this. We'll get the money here to really fair quickly. Yeah, it's,
Okay.
yeah, I was just gonna say.
Right? Well,
Someone will pick up this.
we'll have the
within next week.
conversation after this. Yeah, for sure. We know we have a generous community,
Yeah.
that the funds are out there. I know I've been doing a lot of asks right now with the other events, and certainly.
I'll call 2 people today, and I'm sure we'll have it taken care of by the end of the day.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad that you know that this is how we're wanting to move forward. Thank you very much for any generous considerations from the private sector too. So thank you.
Thanks, Noelle.
can we get a?
I did notice a really small thing. I don't know if the rebate's still good on the thing. It says it's. So it might be more 1,800, I don't know.
Do you want to make that a motion?
We're not acting on it, really, I guess. Are we, Peggy?
It's I agendize it as an item for consideration. So in my mind, it would be there's something that I think you would need to. Tracy probably should put that into a motion that what he basically said, and someone should second it for the record, just for clarity.
I motion that we find private donors to fund this gazebo.
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion approved. 3, upcoming meeting schedule.
Yeah, so at the last meeting, we had a conversation about trying not to meet every single month and only meeting when needed. So what Ashley and I did, we actually went back through your old agendas and started to look at what were reoccurring things each month. So certain things always occur. For instance, you always start your budget in August and you have your hearing in September for the budget. So we kind of went through thinking, okay, what months is there not actually something that's required or critical, that kind of thing, to try to figure out what months do we not need to meet, and then how do we, consolidate things. So we basically, there's a short little memo, and then there's sort of an outline on pages 12 and 13. So real quick, we determined, and feel free to disagree with any of these, it's just from our own research, but it seems that a meeting in January may not necessarily be needed. In 2020, in February, we can do a seasonal update, financial report, things like that. March, we also thought that it's possible we'd have some different types of things, but we wouldn't need one in April. We'd have a meeting in May, which we're having right now. It also seemed like there would be potential for a meeting in June. We could skip July, have a meeting in August and September, also October and November, and then skip December, and then skip January again. There are a couple months in here that we could also, like if you look at, for instance, with June, it's not anything specific, so it's potential. If we don't have something to cover in June, we could skip that. Of course, with the water bill, we just sort of said we'll talk that at the next meeting. We'd have to decide, is the next meeting in June or July. But so we just kind of went through that. We just wanted to discuss this with you all. Did we miss anything? Are you kind of in agreement with that? Should we, obviously we don't need to super stay focused on these, but we were trying to figure out, kind of a sense of what months we could kind of skip just looking forward. So does that, hopefully it's helpful in that discussion.
No, I think that sounds about right. I think we were trying to keep it, I think we kind of found that probably like 6 months out of the year. So I'm not sure about the October one. I don't know. I guess maybe because we would be discussing holiday stuff. So maybe if we could get the holiday stuff done in October, maybe we wouldn't need November.
Correct.
Yep,
it's possible. Yep.
So maybe if we could get that stuff done, then we would, if we didn't, or if we got everything done, we would not have November, or if we skipped October, get everything done by November, and then maybe we would get our 6 in that way. I think if, we were,
Yeah, I think I had it January, March, April, June, July, and December would be 6 months that we could skip. But
Right.
Maybe be able to. November's also kind of on the
iffy.
edge there, because by the time you get to your November meeting, you've already the trees being lit, all
Exactly.
those types of things. So
Yeah.
a lot of all that's been taken care of too. So
right.
yep.
Okay, so right now we're saying we would meet February, May, June, August, September, October, November, but I'm saying, if we get everything done, then we could probably skip November.
And if we can consolidate,
Yeah.
that will be just something that Ashley and I will try to keep
Yeah.
track of and keep it as condensed as possible and try to be ahead of things. So if we can get it on ahead or move something forward, we'll try to do that for
Yeah.
efficiency and
Does that sound good,
from that
guys?
perspective. So.
Perfect. All right, cool. All right, great, thank you.
So the next one on our agenda was the downtown clean.
No, the bid facade program.
Oh, the bid facade program. Sorry, I'm just jumping ahead quickly here. So I just wanted to go over. We have 2 facade programs from last year. So we have Hussars, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We have the Outbreak and Goman. Those are the 4 facade programs that are out there. Hussars, we have yet to get any permits for. He did sign the contract in March, and it would need to be completed by March of 26. Big Brothers and Big Sisters, they have been in great communication with me. They are getting contractors and bids and taking it to their board for approvals. You haven't seen anything yet, but they are they're right on top of it. We've had communications about some other things too, so they're working really well. I'm pretty impressed with the fact that they want to make sure they do everything correctly, so lots of great communication there. For the Outbreak, their project was awarded last June. It's supposed to be completed by the 28th of June this year. They did pull permits, but they did not pay for the permit, and that's been pending for close to 10 months. So given that we're in May and June 28th is less than 2 months away, I'm going to guess that that is not going to be completed this year. I haven't heard about any extensions, so I think that amount of money may be coming back into your bucket for being awarded to somebody in the future. And then Gomans, they have their permits pulled. They have not started the work on the facade. They've asked only for the work to be contributed to the facade on Main Street, but their contractor, I know, is supposed to be back doing work interior and exterior in about 2 weeks, and they have a goal of being completed with interior and exterior work in October. So I think they have no problems probably meeting those deadlines of next March. So that's a quick little synopsis of those grants that are out there. And then currently, we have, the committee asked, we had $7,500 left over for this year. That was not awarded. They asked for a second round, so we issued those May 1st, and the time frame is for close of those applications is May 22nd, and we'll have a meeting, I think it's June 17th, to go over any applications. I have met with 2 property owners. One, their project's a little bit bigger, and when we explained all the things they might need, they didn't think they were going to be able to pull all that together with their contractor, so they'll probably apply for the 26 funds. But I do have one other person who's getting their work together. It's a little less complicated, and so I think I'll get his application probably here in a week. So I know of at least one person interested in this particular round. So hopefully we'll hear a little bit more. We did send out a postcard about it. We're going to send out emails to the email list that we have for the bid about every week and a half, just as a reminder. So hopefully we'll get a couple more applications from that perspective. And then the other item I wanted to talk to you about, and I don't know if this is more of a choice for the facade committee or for the bid, but right now the way the grant program has been, it is released in December with applications due in early January. And from my perspective, that's kind of a difficult time to ask people to pull things together. It's the holiday season, it's post New Year's, and when you do a blast out right around Thanksgiving, that also sort of gets lost in everything. So I would actually am suggesting your budget is approved in September. I actually think we should move the facade grant program into the October-November realm, have awards prior to Thanksgiving. We would have all contracts signed after the first of the year once your budget hits, but that will give people the entire winter. They'll have January, February, March to get their permits or any architectural plans in order, so that as soon as the spring hits, they can actually start their work. So they're going to end up having the full construction season to do any of that work. And my proposal would be, once we're done with this current bid process, we would try to end of the summer really market a push for the facade program, for people to get their, work with their contractors, get bids, those types of things. So instead of like announcing, oh, it's open, we should probably 60 days before or even farther be like, hey, it's going to open, and this is the time for you to start having those conversations with your contractors and things, because it is a process. And what I've found is it's for some of the small businesses or business owners where they just own a building, this isn't something that they do every day. And so there's just a lot of little logistics and things like that. I think it might be a little bit smoother. Of course, there could be other tweaks that could be done. So if anybody has any other ideas, if you've been through the program, that kind of thing, totally open for that. And then I also think we should think about some other possibilities for funding. For a lot of them, we might want to think about, architectural fees. Maybe we can contribute. Maybe there's a program where, there's a little bit of money for that type of thing to try to get people to or maybe it's a reimbursement. So you apply and maybe you get, X amount for those drawings, those types of things. And then I think out of the strategic planning committee, there may be some other ideas too that could help. We have a lot of great storefronts, but to be honest, some of the storefronts, they look great during the day, but they don't have nighttime lighting. If they had great storefront lighting, those could really sparkle at night. And so maybe, there's an opportunity those are really small. It's an electrician. There's not a lot of construction. It's just getting really good quality lighting in those storefronts. And so maybe that's something one year it kind of focuses on, or something like that. So I think through the strategic planning committee, we can talk a little bit more about how to really make that pop, because right now we've had some really good projects that were really great and I think would have been transformative, but the property owners just aren't moving forward with them. So then the money just sort of sits there. So I guess I was trying to evaluate like how to really get this money to like really make an impact, because
I was thinking also, John, maybe of seeing if there's any programs through like the WEDC that we could, collaborate with them. Also, in having some of the building owners looking a full year out, because the program runs and then we're looking at a year. But then all of a sudden, I'll talk to someone and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know the program existed," and then they missed out on it.
Yep.
So maybe you run it twice a year. You know what I mean? Or maybe we look at helping them get started on something that maybe it is a project that's going to take them a year to work on, but then we help them get it ready for the next year. Because it's really about educating them and helping them, figure it out. Because you're right, a lot of small business owners, it takes a lot of time. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that the deadline on, say, one of these is March. So if somebody's deadline is March, if they pull a permit, like how long does, if you pull a permit, how long does somebody have a permit for? Is it like an endless thing?
It's 18 months, but
18
typically you can extend it if you're already making progress. So if you have somebody who they're like 95% there, and let's just say they have a delay on a window, or the window got broken transit, the building inspector's not, they're, as long as you're making progress from that perspective. So it could go out, 19, 20 months or something like that from that perspective. If you pulled the permit and it's 18 months later and you haven't done anything, you're going to have to pull a new permit.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
but that's a pretty long time. And our grant is only for 12 months. So the building permit actually lasts longer than the actual grant completion timeframe.
Right. Because I just think if somebody came in with a project that was a big one, and we offered, 15,000 or whatever, and then somebody else came in with a project that was only 5,000, and the one that was 15 was now going to get extended for another year, then we could actually use that part of it for that, because the other one was going to roll over, but that guy didn't do it because we had, there's like so many things within this that I think we need to kind of look at all of the possibilities of that program. I think we have some options there that the strategic planning and the facade grant could be a little bit more proactive with it.
Yep. I think there's a little tweaks or other things
Right.
that just make it a little bit smoother. And
Yeah.
and I think you're right. Getting the information out ahead of time so people are like thinking about it sooner, because it seems like in my time here, it seems like all of a sudden we announce it and then people have to scramble. And that's the one comment of like, how do I get this put together in 4 weeks, or 6 weeks? It's usually something that could take, a little bit longer. I mean, if any of you guys have done any projects in your houses or your buildings or remodeling, you know that there's a lot of time up front before anybody swings a hammer from that perspective. And so that's, kind of part of the working that all together, so.
Okay, so you would like to make a motion to move the bid facade program to start in September?
That was my thought process, and I guess not being super clear, since this is actually my first meeting, is that a decision of the committee, the facade committee, or is that a decision of the bid board, or is that not even clear? And so if you'd like to make the motion as a group, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I think the facade grant committee should meet and we could look at that, Jayne, right? And then we could kind of take a look at that and determine how we want to move forward with the facade grant committee and kind of do that. I think we would do that. So we'll meet as a facade grant committee and kind of relook at that program.
We have a meeting on June 17th, so we'll just add that on to the agenda with the other items. Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, then moving on to the downtown cleaning program.
Yes, so for the downtown maintenance cleaning program, like I said, there's about 10,000, give or take, in the landscaping dollar amount. You guys had upped the landscaping budget this year with the idea that you wanted to do some downtown cleaning, that sort of thing. I've heard from some people, like the idea that the curbs and gutters and stuff, and different things would be cleaned up on Saturday mornings before the farmer's market. I've also heard commentary about the spider webs. We have asked, and Parks has asked some questions about, sort of what the cost might be. It actually is, some of these things on a weekly basis get kind of expensive. So I think we'll be a little bit surprised at some of the cost. I guess, I get the cleaning up before the farmer's market, so it's nice for the farmer's market, but then is it one of those things that then after the farmer's market, there's still clean, like, are you cleaning before, like, does that, all of a sudden there needs to be 2 cleaning regimes that particular day? So, is there a particular other day that needs, is it every section of downtown that needs to be cleaned, or is it certain blocks? Because we want to make sure that your money goes as far as possible. So, if there's a particular block and there really isn't anything in the gutter or the trash, is that just, not, because otherwise what's going to happen is like every single section is going to be swept, whether there needs to be something, the contractor is going to, work that in as if from that perspective. So the other thought I have is if we actually do have some areas that are just chronically dirty sidewalks after a Friday night, is that something that the business owner should be cleaning up outside because that's directly contributed to their particular business? Or is it just an issue that it's just sort of dirty everywhere? So I'm not sure exactly where that comes from. And then with the cobwebs, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the spider webs usually start to appear late August and they kind of last until the first week of November. So we'd have that, and I guess the question becomes, my observation is there's obviously in the walkway with the string lights, there's cobwebs in there that need to be cleaned out, but there's also cobwebs on some of the railings on the river walk and things like that. So guess I also need to have clarity on how far does the spider regime actually go? Is it really just the walkway, or is it the river walk, or, because you can keep wandering and, in a couple more feet, you could find probably another spider web. So that's just something I wanted to talk about so that we could put some sort of specifications together and then go try to see, what will that cost? If they come in within our budgeted amount, that'd be great. If, let's say, they come in at 15,000 or 15,000 instead of 10, then, do we transfer money from one part of the budget to another, or do we just scale back or something like that? So since we're kind of going through this for the first time, I just need clarity, I guess, from the bid board of what the intent is. So that's sort of why we put it on the agenda for discussion. And I can kind of walk you through that step by step. Or does anybody, other than the things I mentioned, is there other cleaning things that are on people's minds that I've not picked up in previous conversations?
Just being downtown myself, I think, from my perspective, I think the downtown business owners clean the sidewalks. Like, I have bars next to me on a weekend, so we just, sweep up the things, but we sweep up the cigarette butts and they go to the streets. I'm not out there picking them up. So I don't know if the sidewalks would necessarily be clean, but the gutters and the roads.
So Public Works does street sweeping once a month from that perspective, but it's probably not Saturday morning. So if the cigarette butts is really what happens on a Friday night and ends up, in the gutters on Saturday mornings, then, it's not getting picked up for, later in the actual work week, Monday through Friday.
I don't think it's particularly dirty Saturday mornings. I don't see that it's extra dirty from a Friday night on a Saturday morning, that would need to be done on a Saturday morning, but whatever day works. And for the spiders, it's the whole river walk. I know I brought up the spiders. It's the whole, every walkway. It is just gross. And how I mentioned a couple meetings ago, we have such a beautiful downtown. We want people to enjoy it. And we walk the river walk. And it's I think the conversation is, it's pretty, but it's terrifying. It's scary. It's gross.
Yes, if spiders aren't your friend, yes.
Yeah, so we don't want that conversation to be spread around. Oh, it's a really pretty, scary, terrifying nightmare walk. You saw what's really beautiful, you know?
So from a spider perspective, that might be the easiest one to tackle first, is I was thinking like it would be a weekly thing, but do you think it would be from your own experiences, because you guys are there every day, do you think it's a twice a week
I think
cleaning or?
nothing's done now.
Nothing is done.
So I think if you kill them a couple times a month, that should handle it.
And I'm not sure if it would actually be a kill regime or if it's just literally I'm knocking them all down and then they're gonna come back and you knock them down and, because they're not really contained. It's not like they're in your house. I don't, we'd have to, it's either, we could pay someone to knock the spider webs down or otherwise we're probably looking at some sort of exterminator type situation. And I'm not sure that's even in the outdoors.
I
if you
think
can-
Mike had sent out a flyer that talked about spraying them with, I don't know, ammonia or something, and it doesn't seem to be a real difficult thing to do, and I think if you can kill half the population or whatever, it's gonna,
So John, we don't currently have an RFP on this at all?
No, we didn't put it into the landscape maintenance part, and there really wasn't, Krista didn't give me any, before she left, I asked for some clarity, and she just basically said, yeah, there's the spider thing, and then there's the butts and the gutters, so I wasn't really clear on what the priorities were.
So I propose we just get an RFP first to kind of see what this is gonna cost before we make any true decision.
Well, and we'll put the RFP together, but it's just a matter of how extensive. I mean, I could put an RFP together that probably could cost $50,000. I could put an RFP together that is, maybe more in line. So that's where I was just, the conversation is like,
Oh, so you want to know how far we're gonna go down and that kind of stuff to?
Well, what are
parameters?
the number one priorities? So
Okay.
now I just heard it's not knocking down the spider webs, it's actually let's kill the spiders and get rid of the webs. So that helped me clarify the spider component. So
John, honestly, not yesterday, but a week ago Monday, we were walking our dogs under the bridge coming this way, and there was another husband and wife walking their dogs this way. And so we're keeping our dogs apart from each other, and the spider webs were hanging down, and the lady freaked out from the spider webs hanging down. I am not kidding. She almost went off almost went off into the water because she was freaking out over the spider web. And I mean, I wanted to laugh, but I didn't want to laugh because she
sorry, I'm
almost
now
went,
laughing at you.
I know, and I
Sorry.
was like, oh my gosh, she almost died. And Steve was like, it's the spider webs. And I was like, it's not the spider web. But I felt so bad for her because she was like, ah, and it was like she freaked out over the spider webs. So I know it was, yeah, so it was, they're
I
bad.
don't mind spiders, but my daughter is terrified of spiders, so I have for 18 years with a daughter who's terrified of spiders. I don't know why. It's just part of her instinct, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I get the sense that most people have an experience of it, and I know I've heard from a number of constituents, well, we'll do something about this. And it seems like an exterminator or getting to the root of the problem, if it's a chronic problem, would be a good use of resources, but also obviously we would want to continue to clean it up anyway.
so spider webs is number one.
It's two different, yeah.
Killing the spiders and the spider webs are kind of the number one things for, if we put the big category of clean up there, those are the two, are those the number 1 and 2 items for this year as well in terms of, and when we do an RFP, I'll ask for things to be itemized, and it may actually be, if we're asking for more like an exterminator, that may be a different kind of person than the person who's gonna clean up cigarette butts, so.
For getting that, can you get different options and bring in the options? Like if we just sweep them once a week, this is what it costs. If we exterminate every other week, this is the cost, and have options to look
Probably
at?
what I will do is I'll probably just start asking for some local businesses. I'll try to get like 3 quotes for spiders and 3 quotes for other things to kind of inform us on the prices. If they're low, we could probably just go with a contractor. If we wanted to bundle it into RFP, we could then resend out a more formal RFP to everyone from that perspective. But in order to get a good sense of costs and timing and stuff, I think there's probably, businesses are usually willing to provide a little bit of info. Sure.
Podium, Leona, if you want to speak.
She might.
Speak into the mic, yeah.
I just want to speak on behalf of this issue. If we are really talking about extermination, I mean, I'm at the Bend. It's a disaster in that alleyway, that walkway, as far as spider webs. But we have to be concerned about what that's going to do, because the reason we have so many spiders is because the river is a haven for bugs, and we could end up having a major mosquito problem if we get rid of the spiders.
Yeah, I would concur that spiders do take care of other pests. You know.
That's why I honestly, that's why I was just thinking knocking down the spider webs. Granted, the spider's still there. They have to work harder to make another web, but they don't become as big. And eventually, I think if you knock them down, they're going to find other places to, I think they're probably smart enough to be like, okay, this isn't a good place to make my web. I'll go over here. So. But that's a good point, too.
One problem gets another, huh?
So how about we leave it at this, just for sake of time? How about if we get some, call some different businesses, we'll try to get 3 quotes on different things, and just get some prices out there to see what we're looking at, and then we'll bring them back to you so you can kind of understand sort of some of these costs. And we'll see if we're in the ballpark or we're out of the ballpark, and then prioritize from there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, John.
All right.
Okay, Main Street onboarding cohort.
Yeah, so we received an email. I'm going to try to pull it up. I think that starts on 5.6a. So as you know, we are a Connected Communities. That's through WEDC. That Connected Communities program does have requirements for our members to participate in some training, as well as provides us with a number of resources and things like that. Traditionally, it has taken Connected Communities a little bit longer to become a Main Street community. So you have to do sort of your time. But they have created a new program. This is new. It's an opportunity to be in a cohort model structure. So they will pick a handful of connected communities that will actually go through a process to become a Main Street community. If you've read through that, there is some commitments. So you have to be a Main Street community, you have to have dedicated staff of 20 hours of communities. Actually, sorry, it's a staff employed dedicated person for, and a budget over $70,000, et cetera. So we meet a lot of these criteria, but there are some commitments that I would actually have to have from all of you. So basically, we need to have, I believe it's either 4 or 5 people who will commit to attending different events and meetings and things like that. So it's not one of these things where I can just go to these meetings, click the box, do the time, and then we can be a Main Street community. We actually have to have board participation in that process. So some of those meetings will probably be virtual, some may be in Madison, but I guess I am, they're gonna only pick 5 communities. We do have to apply for it, but I'm wondering if you guys are interested, and at this time, do I have a preliminary commitment to some or all of you that you would be participating? If so, we'll apply and hope that we're one of the 5 that's selected. If there really isn't that kind of interest, then we probably wouldn't put our hat in. But the Main Streets programs, for instance, they do have a free design service for a Facade program. So if you are a business and you are going to do work, you could actually contact WDC and they would actually do a facade study of your building and how the storefront could be remodeled. It's a free service, so you could, it's not a construction drawing, it's more of a graphic illustration, but then you can take that to someone who's a contractor or someone and actually have it constructed. So it's sort of a freebie in the first phase of, that remodeling / renovation, restoration of a facade. And then they have a lot of other services too.
I had explained to John that when I was on the board for the Downtown Association, as president, I did do the full-day seminar with the director at that time in Madison. It was a one-day commitment. I went to it. I had stated that I would be happy to do that on behalf of this board as well. There was some very short trainings that I did online, maybe 1.5 hour here, 1.5 hour there. It was very minimal. It was a benefit to the Downtown Association at the time. We did receive, I believe, $15,000 in funding. It was a benefit to the downtown businesses at that point. It was a program that was nice. They were easy to work with. It only went away because it was due to one of the administrations that had eliminated the program. It wasn't that we stopped using it or utilizing it. It was a program that was eliminated. So it's completely up to the board. You still have to apply for it. They choose it. It's not even definitive if we would get it, but you do get funding for it, and it would just be extra bid funds that we could use towards however we determine we want to use it. I would be willing to do the majority of the work or required trainings or whatever they would ask to do. If it, would require somebody to go to Madison, I would be happy to do that on behalf of the board. So it's up to anybody else if they would want to do anything if it requires more than that.
Yeah, so just for clarity, it's 10 virtual webinars, 1 in-person training, 2 on-site visits, and they need to be attended by 2 individuals from the community. So it doesn't have to be the same 2, but each of those, so, if you all rotated, it would be a little less burdensome. And if you all wanted to go to, the 1 in-person training in Madison, you'd have to flip some coins or something like that because they only want 2 people. But yeah, that's kind of the commitment level.
John, is there a cost to the bid for any of this?
For applying, no, and then afterwards, no. It's totally just it's a benefit. Basically, the cost is they want to see that you have an executive director, you have a budget over 70,000, so you have criteria to meet. So I guess the cost is just maintaining those criteria. If for some reason you dipped below or something like that, then you wouldn't meet the criteria. But there's not an out-of-pocket dollar
There's
amount.
nothing we haven't met.
I don't believe so, no. If there is something that we haven't met, I don't see why there wouldn't be a reason why we couldn't, make it happen.
I'd be willing to take on some of the trainings or anything. That would be fine.
It's really just an extra benefit for any of the business owners downtown that they can take advantage of, something from the Madison level it's like another, kind of like an EDC kind of thing.
The outline looks complicated, but
It's not, no, it's a really nice program from the state level.
Yeah, the spreadsheet is a little more daunting when you see it in multiple pages, but yeah, it's not.
Okay, I guess if you're okay with that, I would make a motion that John goes ahead and applies for the Main Street onboarding.
Sounds great. Oh,
I have a
need
second?
A second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, then if we could go through the reports. No?
Peggy?
Oh, I'm so
Excuse me.
sorry.
So,
Hi.
If you wouldn't mind the interruption, if we could return to agenda item 1 with your permission?
Absolutely.
Great, just have a quick update, and so I'm here speaking to you as the interim city administrator, so ignore the uniform, maybe picture top hat, monocle, cane. Thank you. Just to support John and really appreciate your patience in our transition period. There's a lot of items that we are trying to catch up with and make sure we have full understanding on. So as you were progressing with your meeting, I just did some background on the speaker issue, and I'd just like to touch base real quickly on the speaker issue. So we became aware that the speakers were not up to our expectations and your expectations in late fall, in November. We collected the speakers to preserve any type of value in them and seek a refund if it wasn't fixable, certainly hold the vendor accountable. We ran into some challenges with that, mainly because of the process in which we purchased, the city purchased those speakers or entered into that agreement. So the city does have some culpability in the issues that we're dealing with. So I'm just learning about it as well. I think John has really been taking on a huge workload, and really we're all just trying to get our feet underneath us. So I'm just learning about it now, so I don't have 100% commitment to you, but it feels like we have some culpability in that. So let me do some more digging into that, and I believe that the city will be working through the legal fees on that aspect. Okay, so in November we had a conference call because there's some issues with the process in which we purchased. We're probably looking at a federal lawsuit, so we had to hire some outside counsel. That was progressing, but I think has been a casualty of our transition as we're trying to get our feet under us. So during this meeting, Ian has already reached out to outside counsel. Our attorney, Ian Bruce, has reached out to outside counsel to keep that process moving and see where we're at. So I don't have any more answers than John gave you. I just wanted you to know that as a team, we're going to be looking hard into this issue and continuing to move it forward. And I know John has been working on it as well. It's just there's a lot that we're figuring out. So my promise to you is if we do have that culpability and we have a resolution, that I'll advocate strongly with council to fund those legal fees. And more importantly, seek a resolution, whether it's a fix to the system, which doesn't sound like that's possible, or making sure that the vendor's held accountable for not meeting our expectations. That's all I wanted to talk about. Okay,
Thank
and
you,
we will
Chief.
bring an update back to you
Okay,
at the next bid.
thank you, Chief. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
We all know the legal process takes forever, so appreciate that. Okay, if we could go through the reports then, Leona and Noelle, if you guys want to come up and give us a quick update. I saw in the paper we're going to have a rockin' downtown in about 30 days.
Less.
Yeah, less now, yes.
Yeah. We'll go in chronological order, like for the downtown, and then we will both speak about the block party shortly. And then, yeah. So the Downtown West Bend Association just wrapped up on the 13th annual Art Walk at MOA over the last weekend. So that was great. The banners will be hung on May 12th in time for the first farmers market. So that is going to be on May 17th, and for the next 24 Saturdays from 7:30 to 11. Downtown, very similar footprint as last year too. So we're really excited to bring that back. Just a wonderful farmers market for our community. And then, of course, we were just talking about this partnership. So grateful to the Bend Theater. We're bringing the block party back on May 29th. So I'll let Leona, if you want to say a little bit about it on your behalf too.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody in the community that has supported us for the block party. We have some great sponsors. Of course, the city is a great partner. We have Westbury Bank, we have Hanson Company, and Pharmacal. So for the May one, we won't talk about the September one until we get there. So we're very excited to have that as an opportunity again.
And we're just, of course, featured in our local news, but we have a couple of really big bands that the Bend secured. The Spicy Thai Band is our main act. And why am I blanking on the opener? Weird Science, an 80s band. And then we're going to have more food vendors than we normally would, similar to last year. But just with it being the second year, knowing how successful the first two were last year, we're expecting, weather dependent, of course, if we have a beautiful night, we're going to have a really packed downtown in those 3 blocks. So I know that the Downtown West Bend Association as well will be communicating with the businesses in that area, and just like reminders again that there's going to be some road closures for that day a little earlier, in the day too, for the stage to be set up, and kind of staggering the closure times. But should be a great event. And then as we continue to move into the summertime, of course, Farmers Market and Music on Main will be weekly events. The 12 Thursdays between the 2 block parties will be back at Old Settlers Park again with that temporary gazebo that we're going to have that will be well utilized for this summer season. And we are celebrating 20 years of Music on Main this year. So that's really exciting as well, where we have some fun mug club promotion that we're doing that our mayor helped us promote recently. recently, and new shirts that we're going to have. So we're definitely wanting to spread the word about this exciting 20th anniversary. And then, of course, Global Fest. I just wanted to mention again, it is on June 28th and 29th, this inaugural event, thanks to the major events grant through the city. We're really looking forward to it. It's coming together. We have all the entertainment, all the food set. Over 30 nations are going to be represented through whether it's music, dance, drummers, performers, the food, the drink, the arts, and the artisans. So thank you to everyone here too that is sponsored in some way. I know Peggy, we have a $1,000 travel voucher raffle that will be giving, having people participate in so they can win that. So there's a lot that we're continuing to plan for it, and more marketing. You'll see it continue to come out in the weeks to come.
And what were you spray painting yesterday?
Yes. So when Jay and Jess were still here, we did contact them. That is in regards to the farmers market. Continually, we were asked over and over by vendors last year, especially those that we have seasonal vendors that are there every Saturday. And then we have our partial season vendors that are there just up to 6 times a season. And more often than not, those partial seasons where they're like, oh, I'm just only here a few times, they get confused. Even though we send them a map, we send them like the exact number stall that they're supposed to be in, there's still confusion. So we heard very often, it would be great to know where these numbers are. So we had asked them months and months ago if we could get the blessing to put numbers. So we have 166 stall numbers that we spray painted, and we try to do it as inobtrusively as possible on the curb. It's just a black matte spray paint, and once cars are parked in the stalls, you'll never even know they were there. So, but it should alleviate some headaches as far as where people are supposed to go.
Okay.
All right, well, now the bend. I just want to say we were so excited last month to have John McGivern in town and to have a very full house, standing room only at the Bend for a free community event for the feature of the Main Streets featuring West Bend. That was so exciting. We also had another great full capacity event, and that was another free event in partnerships with Cedar Lakes Conservation. And that was supported by the Ziegler Foundation. We had Kirk Johnson come in from the Smithsonian. And so it was a really great event. We've got a lot of those coming up. This week, we've got a Blue Lotus's fundraising event. It's their charity soiree, and that is featuring some music, and that will be this week, the 7th. This weekend, we've got Peter Antonio. He's actually a psychic comedian. He will be here Friday and Saturday. And Saturday, he's doing a seance. We've got another great partner event with Cedar Lakes Conservation, also funded by the Ziegler Foundation, and that's an invitation to Wonder documentary on the 15th. Almighty Vinyl will be on the 16th. Steely Dane is coming on the 17th. That is sponsored by West Bend Community Foundation. On the 18th, we have In the Garden. It is a free event that is being offered in combination and in partnership with Roots and Branches. It is a flute choir that is pulled this special In the Garden event together that is in honor of Roots and Branches Spring Garden Sale, which is also that same weekend. That same day, we are partnering with the library to do a free movie for National Treasure. It is part of their scavenger hunt that they've been doing. If you haven't noticed it, the posts have been going out through the last month. On the 23rd, we've got the Hero's Journey, which is the pro wrestling story world premiere event. On the 29th, of course, is our wonderful block party. On the 30th is Kevin Farley. That is Chris Farley's brother, and he is coming in. We're so excited about that. Also on the 30th, to wrap up the month, or 31st, to wrap up the month, we are partnering with Youth and Family Project to have a couple free showings of Inside Out, the animation, for the community for free for Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're so excited to have those opportunities for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, ladies. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the Downtown Master Plan Quarterly Report.
Yes. So this quarterly report was requested by the donor group or civic leaders group in terms of reports on the updates to the downtown master plan. So We've been providing that to City Council, and the Planning Commission is they're responsible for, implementation of comprehensive plan and things like that. And I thought it would be a good thing to also just include in your packet. So I don't really need to go through it. You pretty much know a lot of the things that already happened, but it's just more for a reference, and it's just kind of a benchmark for all of you to also have the same communication that the other groups are getting.
Okay. Is that the same then for the maintenance plantings update?
For the downtown maintenance planning update, I just wanted to let you know that it should probably be, I think it's right around the middle of the month, you'll start to see the plants come in. You probably did see landscapes cleaning up the pots sort of around the 1st of March. They will be also cleaning up 5th and 6th Street here shortly, and there'll be new mulch and things like that. So just want to let you know that in the next couple of weeks, you'll see a lot of things happening. You'll start to see the hanging baskets installed. I know Noelle had the unveiling of the banners last week, and so those are going to be mounted pretty soon. So downtown will look really different in about 2 or 3 weeks. So
Awesome.
yep.
Okay, Larry, if you want to do a quick update on the Bid Strategic Plan Committee?
Well, fortunately, we don't have much to add from the March meeting. We had plans to put tables and chairs in Settlers Park, but that was put on hold when the gazebo went down. And I think there's plans right now to maybe reimagine how that's put back together when they build the new gazebo and maybe bandstand and possibly put in some lavatories. But that's really the long-term implementation of the downtown master plan, so I don't have much to add to that.
Okay.
I would like to make sure that everybody was able to get a copy of that survey that went out. Is everybody able to see that? That's
And
it.
then just to add to Larry, so Larry, one of my next task was to reach out to you so we could actually schedule another committee meeting, but I was trying to get some of these other things like the facade program and stuff out the door. So we can maybe talk afterwards about if we want to meet later in May or June.
That'd be great.
So
Okay, and then Jayne, just a quick update on the Facade Grant Committee?
At this time, I don't really have anything more to add other than what John was so nice to explain all that. We are meeting, as John said, on June 17th, so we should have, I believe it'll be August if we don't have a July meeting, and we'll have an update at that time.
Perfect. Wonderful. Oh, there's a second page to this. This was a big meeting. Oh, actually, it's the adjournment. Okay. Yes, Leona?
Noelle and I wanted to share, even though it's not necessarily Downtown West Bend Association or the Bends, we wanted to share that the Moms Fest is this weekend, and we want to say a huge shout out to the 17 businesses that put that together. It is encompassing a majority of things going on downtown. There are 2 fashion shows that are occurring at the Bend, but it is really their event. And to Jennifer at Sweet Laurel, we wanted to put big kudos out to them.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so then I think we had the one agenda item that we said for next month was going to be, Tracy, what did we say was the agenda item for next month? I want to make
Water.
the water, right? We want to make sure. Okay, so that was definitely it. Was there anything else on there? I think that was it for
So
sure.
I think we were, let me think here. Let me go back. So one of the months that we were thinking that we wouldn't meet would be potentially in July or June or July. So
No, we're going to meet for sure in June.
June, okay.
I think
We'll
July
skip
is
July.
out.
Okay,
Yep, August, and
good.
then I think we're contemplating not having to meet in November.
Yep,
If we can
okay,
get everything
sounds
done
good.
in October. Yep.
All right. Well, then
Okay.
we'll squeeze
Otherwise,
as much
if we
in on
could,
June.
if we could have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Have a good day.